If you're a creator who's just getting started in influencer marketing, or just a creator who's been in the space for a while and know you're getting underpaid, then you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Amy. I create travel content online and I've been doing so since 2020. This year I locked in my first 5-figure brand deal, and it got me thinking about what my negotiation skills were like a couple of years ago and what I could have been doing differently to get bigger brand deals. So today I'm going to share my biggest tips and tricks for getting paid as a small creator and how to negotiate bigger brand deals with doing less work. My first tip is something I haven't mentioned online before, and it's something that I think has played a huge role in how I've been successful as a small creator. You might have seen some big influencers or creators using management teams to manage their brand deals and get them bigger and better brand deals as time goes on. Now, as a small creator, I wasn't about to wait around till one of these companies reached out to me. And no, before you think that I went out and reached out to them and tried to get management to support me, I didn't do that either. I have zero management, but nobody knows that. When I get inbound messages from different brands, I have an email signature from my manager. And I'm doing the air quotes because if you can't tell already, I don't actually have a manager. I decided to give my fake manager a man's name and a photo in my email signature, and I respond to emails as if I'm him. So I'm guessing you might have a couple of questions for me. First, you might be wondering, why would I do that in general? Well, if a brand thinks they're negotiating with an experienced management team or manager, then they're more likely to negotiate a higher rate. Because if they think they're working with a small creator who doesn't know what they're doing, then they're gonna lowball you with their offer and you're likely to accept that. And secondly, why a man? Well, we're all aware of the wage gap between men and women in the workplace, and I do not want to be a female creator who gets taken advantage of. I want to earn as much as I can possibly on each brand deal, and to do so, I want to be represented by a man because they're going to take me more seriously. It's a sad truth, but it is the truth. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Another thing that's going to come up when you're negotiating is the budget. Whether you reached out to the brand or they're in your inbox, at some point or another, they're going to ask you what your rates are. And I've learned the hard way that one of the worst things you can do is play your hands too quickly and let them know your rates right off the bat. When they ask for my rates, I try to turn it around on them and ask for their budget. This usually goes back and forth a few times because no one wants to show their cards first. You can work around this question by letting them know that you don't have set rates and that it depends on the scope of work and the deliverables that they're looking for. That way, when they come around and they give you a list of deliverables, then you can respond to that by saying your prices would start in the ballpark of X. That way you're not really giving them the specifics and still trying to turn it around on them and ask them for their budget as well. And obviously, if they're being insistent about seeing your rates, you're going to have to send it over at one point or another, but do your best to get them to tell you their budget first. Once you share your rates, and if they say yes right away, you will know immediately that they are underpaying you or that they just have a much larger budget to work with. It's always best to price yourself a little bit too high, and then you can negotiate from there. For the 5-figure brand deal that I locked in, I made sure to know the scope of work and deliverables before giving them any idea of my rates. I also charged a lot more for exclusivity and ad usage. Exclusivity, if you don't know already, is when you work exclusively, as the name states, with that brand or that type of brand. So it would be for a set period of time, usually for 3 months, for example. So let's use an example of a suitcase brand. If you're working with them, you sign on 3 months exclusivity. That means that you're only working with them in terms of brands that are in the suitcase space. So if another suitcase brand contacts you to work with them, you say no because you've signed on with exclusivity for the next 3 months. So because you're taking a little bit of a hit in terms of which brands you can and can't work with when you're exclusive to a brand, that means that you have to charge extra. Usually you can charge 30% of your base rate for a TikTok or an Instagram reel. And your base rate is how much you would charge for one TikTok or one reel. For example, let's just say $1,000 for simplicity. And for exclusivity, you would be charging, in this example, $300 for each month that you're exclusive to the brand. When it comes to ad usage, you can change up your pricing a little bit, but generally I would charge 20% of my base rate for every 30-day period that they want to run the content as an ad. This is also a good way to upsell your content and get more out of each brand deal. But I have to say that adding exclusivity was what brought this brand deal from a 4-figure one to a 5-figure one. So it's something I would highly recommend mentioning next time you're negotiating with a brand. Now let's get into some other options you can discuss when negotiating with a brand. Let's say you find out that they don't have the budget to work with you and pay your base rate. In that case, you can come back to them and suggest working on a UGC basis. And if you don't know UGC, it's when you create video content typically that is shared on their channel. So not your channel, but the brand's channel. So they don't have access to your audience. But what they're getting is high quality video content to promote their product or service. Because you're not sharing the content with your audience and it's going on the brand's page only, you charge a lower rate for this type of content. Let's just say a ballpark of around $300 per one 60-second video. You can also create different bundle options for UGC that includes photo and video to give them more options and work within their budget. I also like to add on stories and linking to the product and service in an Instagram story. One thing that really annoys me and comes in a lot in my inbox are offers for affiliate programs. And I'm definitely part of some affiliates at the moment, but it's not the highest paying, so I would definitely leave that more on the back burner, and there are ways that you can negotiate and turn an affiliate offer into a paid partnership or UGC work. You typically have to do a little bit of research and look through the brand's socials, see what they could need from you. So that might mean a couple of UGC videos, some imagery to use on their socials or website. You have to do a little bit of digging, come back, turn it around on them, and see what they have to say when you offer different things that can close the gap if they don't have the budget, but they are offering you affiliate. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about forming long-term partnerships. If you've worked with a brand before, then reach out to them again if it went well and offer to do a long-term partnership. This will benefit you and the brand. Long-term partnerships are usually anywhere from 3 to 12 months long, and it's a contract. It's essentially a monthly retainer that the brand will have you on for a certain set of deliverables. The benefit here is that you have consistent income coming in on those months. So in exchange for that consistent income, you will charge a little bit less on a bundled long-term partnership rate. For example, if you typically charge $1,000 for a reel or a TikTok and say you're going to do 4 a month, instead of charging $4,000 a month, you might lower that to $3,000 a month. Also, you can definitely negotiate a long-term partnership with new brands that have never worked with you before, but they might be a little bit more hesitant to do that right off the bat. So maybe work with them and show them what you can do with your first piece of content. Make sure it performs well, do your best to impress them, and then turn around, show them the analytics, and try to lock in a long-term partnership. One of my first long-term partnerships was with a travel insurance company, and I did a couple of TikToks and reels for them every single month, and it didn't really pay that well at the time. I think they were paying me around $1,000 a month, which is not very much, but I knew I was getting that consistently, and it was really great for a small creator to have that every single month for about 6 months. So this was definitely a short one, and it wraps up my video on how to negotiate brand deals. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. Please let me know if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to see similar videos every single Wednesday or Thursday. And thank you so much again. I will see you in the next one. Bye.